Hello and welcome to episode 119 of the Perth Paisley podcast, a podcast dedicated to Heart of Midlothian Football Club. Joining me, Adam Kennedy, to discuss the most recent match, a defeat to Motherwell at Fir Park, is Daniel McIver. McIver, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I got a new computer chair that doesn't look any different to the other one, so that's great. A
That's
few
nice.
days off my work, so
Oh,
I'm doing
nice.
good. I can tell by your tone of voice and your general demeanour that you're maybe not doing as well as me. How are you?
Pish, thanks for asking. No, I can't be arsed with this. This is the most depressed I've been recording one of these in a long time. That was woeful.
We need a bit of background on it though, because we're recording this the night of. We're recording this on Sunday
Yeah.
night
So
as
so so rather than digest it on say a Monday or a Tuesday, I've calmed down, like I've assessed the situation. This is more off the cuff, general thoughts. And this is why I have no mates and don't have anybody to go to the football with.
Yeah, so I'm away on Tuesday, which is why we can't record on a normal day. Adam's busy on Monday. So you're getting another Sunday record, Monday upload, which some of you might think is great. Some of you might think it's terrible. I have a feeling Adam is going to hate his life for however long this is going to be. So yeah,
I'm in the latter camp there. Before we get into talking about the Hearts game, we're going to go around the grounds as we tend to do. There was 5 fixtures on the Saturday, what with us being the only game on the Sunday. The first of which saw Celtic batter Aberdeen by 4-0 at Parkhead. There was a win in the Tayside Derby for St Johnstone, a 2-1 success away at Tannadice against Dundee United. Hibernian continued their recent upturn in form, which again coincides with today, which is why I'm really quite angry, stroke sad, stroke depressed, as they got the better of Kilmarnock, who can't play away from home by 2-0 at Easter Road. Livingston were reduced to 10 men, but it didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things as they lost 3-0 at home to Rangers. Didn't mention the Kelly red card either, and Ross County were another that went down to 10 men, but again they fell behind early as they lost 1-0 to St Mirren in Paisley. What were your thoughts with regards to the other 5 matches, McIver? Any surprises for you?
I don't have any thoughts on the Rangers and Celtic games. They're just
It's just standard
expected.
week by week in it now, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. St Mirren kind of getting back after they fell to Hibs.
Yes,
I
and
don't.
Motherwell in midweek as
Oh
well.
yeah, of course. I don't really know what's going to happen with Ross County. There's those 4 teams kind of at the bottom that they all just kind of seem to be swapping places every single week, and I don't really know what's going to happen.
So I was convinced up until January and Ross County did their business that they were getting relegated. The past week, I've been convinced that Motherwell are going to get relegated before obviously they got the better of St Mirren. Shock horror with the new manager bounce. And then lo and behold, they took that momentum into playing us today. So I don't have a Scooby either. I don't really care. But I mean, who do you think is getting relegated out of interest?
Dundee United.
Wow.
Because let's speak about that goal. That's the
Yeah,
funniest goal of the season.
I I was working early this morning, which is probably another factor that contributes to why I'm in a shocking mood, as I'm one of them that needs my sleep. So I don't know why I agreed to early shifts, but nonetheless, here we are. I was watching it at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was genuinely screaming with laughter. That is one of the funniest goals I've ever seen. I thought, I'm going to be angry about what's happened this afternoon, but that would irk me beyond my wildest dreams.
I feel like that's what a lot of people in the heart support think we do when we pass around the back. It's so insane. Like the context of they've just got back in it, and you're like, right, there's 10
Great
minutes
goal from
left.
Levitt as well. They can push on. The crowd. They've got the crowd on side. They're galvanised. They're in the ascendancy.
Wasn't
then,
he that Birighitti?
oh,
Wasn't he like statistically the best keeper in the A League or something last season? Like, there's some mental
listen,
stat about that.
listen. I mean, we supposedly picked up one of the best right backs, right wing backs in the A League. Now I'm starting to think the A League is a massive con.
Very true. But yeah, that was funny. Hibs, I love the technicality that Hibs still beat 10 men. I love that wee stat. So that's the thing, yeah. I expected that purely just on how terrible Kilmarnock are when they're not
Dreadful.
either at Rugby Park or Tynecastle. Like the two places that they're good at.
Imagine playing at two grounds,
I
being
know.
confident of going to play at two grounds.
Well, in fairness, we kind of are at the other side of the city most of the time when I'm not there. So
Fair
it's
point.
fine.
Fair point. But no real surprise. I mean, for me, I'm slightly I'm slightly annoyed at myself, to be honest,
Right.
because I was on the verge of getting three correct scores up until Celtic added a fourth in injury time or in the 90th minute for whatever, like absolutely no reason whatsoever, because I had 3-0. I picked out that St Johnstone would beat Dundee United by 2-1. That was 11-1 with the bookies.
Oh,
And what compounds my misery is I also had Hibernian to beat Kilmarnock 2-0 at Easter Road, which was 7-1 with the bookies.
what a double header that could have been.
That would have been absolutely phenomenal. Did I have a penny on it? No, I did not. And then, with that 5 out the way, we get to the highlight of the weekend.
Yeah.
Part of Midlothian come to town, the town being Motherwell. Robbie Nielsen makes 2 changes from the Scottish Cup tie. And again, another trip to Lanarkshire, where we actually won 2-0 against Hamilton Accies. Hearts were without the suspended Josh Ginnelly, given he was sent off in the latter stages of the match at home to Dundee United. What was that, a fortnight ago?
Yep.
And the other change in question saw George Grant drop out for our second goal scorer away to Accies, which was Cammy Devlin. That meant the Hearts lined up as follows. It was Xander Clark in goal. Back 3 of, well, Fort Mob has it as Alex Cochrane, Toby Civic, and James Hill, but it was Stephen Kingsley, Toby Civic, and James Hill. Midfield quartet of Alex Cochrane, Michael Smith, Robert Snodgrass, and Cammy Devlin, with Barry Mackay supporting Lauren Shankland and Stephen Humphreys. Any surprises with that team, McIver? Because for me, it was pretty much what I expected, given that Ginnelly was obviously missing through suspension.
It's what I expected. I had hoped for slightly differently. I hope that Grant would have kept his place, because I just feel if you're not going to start George Grant against a Motherwell side that is in low in confidence, maybe not low in confidence considering their St Mirren result, but generally they're without a manager and stuff like that. It's kind of like, when is he going to start? Is it just going to be against lower league sides in the cup? And just purely because it's like, well, it gives Devlin enough time to get up to full fitness that, like, there's no pressure on him. Again, I would have liked to see Barry Mackay drop out the side. People may say that's saying it with hindsight after watching the game, but it's not. I've been very clear that I think Barry Mackay needs time out of the team.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because now even in wee games, he's no turning up. Never mind in the big game. It's any game on TV. He's just not turning up.
I'd just like to see him turn up for a game. But yeah, I'm with you. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
You are an advocate of this shape, generally, a 3-4-3 stroke.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Yeah.
You like a 3 at the back. Would your only alteration then have been George Grant in the hole supporting Shankland and Humphreys?
Yeah, so I would have liked... Rolls is hurt, so I know that we don't have Rolls just now. I know he's on the bench, but he's hurt, so he can't start games yet. But if we don't have Rolls, I personally would like a change to a 4. Because I feel like...
There's one thing that we'll agree on.
I feel like even... It's hard. It depends, because I feel like today, as we're recording this, obviously, was a game where a 4 would have been better.
Who would
Because
be your first choice centre halves within that? Kai Rolls, another. Who is the other? Toby Civic.
are we right? So who are available the rest of this season? Because it would be Halkett,
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, Civic would be my choice. It would be Rolls and Civic with Cochrane and Smith.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I just felt immediately that there's 2 very big, strong physical presences. That's 3 defenders that aren't exactly known for their aerial ability. Civic more than any of the 3 of them. Like, that just seems Civic's just good at everything now. But generally, in a 2, I feel like it's maybe better. But then you could argue maybe it's not, because then Obika and Van Veen just go up against one of them, and if they have the beating of it, you're knackered, whereas in a 3, they can change. But what we saw today was, in a 3, it doesn't really work because they get in the spaces.
Right. Oh God. I'm not a great lover of a 3 at the back. I think today heightens my concerns regarding it. I think for me, with the personnel available, I was going to say with everybody fully fit, but with the personnel available, to me, I would love to see us try and employ a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3.
I'd like a 4-2-3-1 and 4-3-3 is very similar in its nature. But yeah,
hence me saying both.
Yeah.
Because I just feel as though, and again, this might just be today, I get this impression when I'm watching Hearts, or have done for a wee while, I just feel like we're so outnumbered in midfield.
Yeah.
Particularly when one of said midfielders is 35-year-old Robert Snodgrass. Granted, Cammy Devlin can do his dirty work. But when, how am I best saying this? When everything is expected to go through Robert Snodgrass, nobody else, not just today, but for a wee while, has contributed for me. Because Barry Mackay's been off the boil for ages, as we both alluded to. Those 2 should be our main men in a conjuring sense. And when neither are at it, then we just look totally bereft of options. Am I too wide of the mark, or is that?
I think it's. I definitely get your point, and I think you've seen that whenever teams put men on Snodgrass, it massively takes away from our creativity.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Partly, though, you could argue, like, yes, we know that when you put a man on Snodgrass, he becomes way less effective. There's an element, though, of I would never say a player shouldn't keep wanting the ball, because a positive is when a player isn't playing very well, / things aren't going.
It's a sign of a top player when things aren't necessarily going accordingly, but they sort of block out the noise and are adamant that they want the ball in order to make things happen.
Definitely. But sometimes Snodgrass does it too much. And players, I don't know why, and I totally understand it, where it's like, well, listen, he's played at the top level of the game for more than a decade. In contrast, I'm a young guy who's just kind of, we're building this system, and he's been very effective in it. I'm going to give him the ball, even if I feel like it's not been working. I do understand that, but I wish there was times. Civic did it twice today, where Snodgrass was shouting for it, and Civic just went, no, and drove forward, and we created 2 half chances out of it. It was like immediately, oh, that's it. And Civic's spoken about that in press conferences, where he used to play a right back / the right-sided side of a back 3, and he's been given license to go. He's good at that. Snodgrass is very good at running games. You saw it in the first 10 minutes. We just were all over them, and Snodgrass was a massive part of that. But immediately, Kettlewell just went, right, man on him. I apologise, I can't remember who it was. But it did just isolate us. And then,
Sean Goss or
potentially,
one of the 2.
It was. I think it might have been Cornelius. I remember Cornelius tackling Snodgrass a couple of times. But then that means, right, Barry Mackay, you need to step up, and whenever you get the ball, you need to push forward. But unfortunately, it limits it unless you have overlapping wing backs. And if the wing backs don't overlap every single time, it creates a bit of a double up for whoever the wide player is on that side.
I know this is easy now to say in hindsight, but George Grant I thought was pretty good Aki's, if I'm honest. Cammy Devlin obviously comes off the bench at Aki's, gets his goal. So you've got two players there to accompany Snodgrass that are arguably, well, they are pushing for a place for inclusion for this game. I look at the back three in particular, and I think Bobby Sibic has been head and shoulders our best of said three for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he and both James Hill are right-footed, so you've got a little bit of an imbalance if you were to play a back four. But for Stephen Kingsley to keep his place recently, I don't see it. Again, in an offensive sense, Barry Mackay keeping his place, I don't see it. I feel like for Robbie, there are some names on the team sheet that, regardless of form, are selected. And I don't know what he's been watching recently for the likes of Kingsley and Mackay to keep their places.
I know, I understand.
That's just two off the top of my head. I mean, I could go further in depth, but they're the primary two for me at the minute.
With Mackay, I understand the justification. I don't agree with it, but I understand the justification.
Because you're hoping that he has a moment in him.
Yeah, and underlying stats back that up.
But we've not seen a moment from Barry Mackay since his winner at McDermott Park.
Well, you could argue he did get 2 assists in the Dundee United win that meant we won the game.
If we were to break it down, his first assist was a deflected cross that is more Shankland's doing, and he's lucky to get the shot away. The second is a great weighted ball for Cochrane, I'll give you. But I mean, so what? We've had Dundee United last week.
I agree, generally.
So Tayside teams. Yeah. That was December. That was something like the 28th of December.
Yeah, it was
we're going into the 20s in February tomorrow when this is out.
Yeah. So as I say, I understand why Robbie will go, listen, I'm going to keep persevering with him because even if he doesn't do anything for 89 minutes, there's a chance that in 1 minute he'll do something that will win us the game. I get that. I just don't think we're in a position. I don't think any team in this division is in a position to afford such a luxury player. I can understand it. I can go, yeah, listen, if you want to do that, then fine. But what that means is you have to ensure everybody else is operating at an even higher level to facilitate someone who's not going to do a lot. And I think it will benefit Mackay. I think it will be a benefit to him if he comes out, and then it allows the pressure off him because listen.
I also think it'd be a benefit to Alan Forrest. I think Alan Forrest needs a run of games. I don't think it's fair that fans have ultimately made their mind up on the guy for having got so much action at the start of the season. Then Josh Ginnelly's come on leaps and bounds. Barry Mackay's still somehow kept his place in the team, but Forrest has only really come off the bench in cameos. So how can you judge Alan Forrest off of that?
I will say, Forrest hasn't hit the heights I thought he would, right? I don't think he's been as bad as some people have said, but I also don't think I've seen some people online being like, oh, he's actually been pretty good. I'm like, I think he's been fine. But today...
I think he's been how the signing was initially received, really.
Potentially, yeah, maybe.
Where it's like low risk. What was it, a 2-year deal or something they signed?
I can't mind.
He's come from Livy. Decent squad option.
Yeah.
And ultimately he's proved nothing more than that. But you're not trying to tell me that Barry Mackay deserves to keep his place, given Alan Forrest hasn't had a sufficient chance.
We also do have Garang, who is like here for 3 more months or something like that.
And we've got Gary Mackay-Steven as well to come back from injury when he eventually comes back from injury.
Garang, Oda and Forrest are the 3 that are in the potential opportunity position. That's what it is. But listen, I just personally think it'll benefit Mackay to have some time out of the team, especially because it's like, mentally, he'll know he's like, oh, shit, I'm not performing great, but let's keep going. Maybe it's exactly what happened with Sibic. Like, Sibic got taken out of the team for a period of time, and it was like, right, listen, it's not going well, mate. Don't worry, you'll get brought out of the team. But then, when he got reintroduced, he then became the Toby Sibic that we've seen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't mean to necessarily go in on those 2 players specifically, but I saw...
No, of course, I know what you mean.
I saw a tweet today where Mackay and Kingsley had been drafted into the Scotland squad for the Ukraine game. I'm starting to wonder if they've been left in Poland or wherever the hell.
I said this, Kingsley's been cloned. We got a different Kingsley that came back. I actually just forgot Mackay was included in that. So maybe he's also been cloned as well. I actually thought we started the game really well. The first 10 minutes were really dominant, and critically, we were moving the ball pretty fast as well. That was good, and we were controlled, and it was the way in the three that I like it. We were keeping it with the centre-halves and Snodgrass and pinging it about there, and then we'd get it out wide and then play in behind and push forward. And then, as expected, I guess you could argue, the home team then came into it a bit after a shaky start. And then from then, it was like, oh,
we never got back into it.
Nothing's happening here.
No. Let's talk about that start, because I watched the highlights back. And I messaged you before we came on to record that it's bad when Hearts TV are that desperate to extend the highlights package out that they chuck in 2 free kicks for Motherwell, both of which they're then called later for offside. So good bit of time wasting there from the Hearts TV team. You've got to love it, dragging out that video package.
I respect it.
In order to enhance somebody's portfolio. So good work. 10 minutes, they adjudge the first highlight to arrive. Callum Butcher tries his luck from a corner, but that swings high and wide into the stand. We would then actually have our first quote-unquote opportunity after 20 minutes.
If I know if I can guess what this is, it is an opportunity that is very poorly executed.
Fire away. What is your guess?
Is it the Humphreys shot that Robert Borthwick kindly says goes over the bar, and then you see the behind angle and it nearly goes over for a throw-in?
Yes, that was said opportunity after Michael Smith advanced forward, cut back from him. 31 minutes is our best chance, and to me, this is one of those instances where, albeit it's still 0-0, they've not yet scored, they've still got plenty time, just under an hour to go. But it's these type of chances that you think that could ultimately come back to bite us.
It could change the game completely.
And it does. Robert Snodgrass intercepts from Dean Cornelius, dinks a lovely ball, in fairness, to the back stick. But Lawrence Shanklin can only head against the post. Unlucky. But for me, that was about all that Robert Snodgrass did.
It's weird. The game literally happened earlier this afternoon, but I kind of don't have many memories of it. I think I'm just in a haze. So I'm like, oh, that was terrible. Let's forget about that immediately.
I was wanting to come in here very prepared, a barrel load of notes, like chance after chance after chance. Watch the highlights back, and I was like, I actually I came in from work, decided to patch a nap to stay up for that. And I've watched the highlights back again since, and I still don't know what the hell that was.
On your point on you think that was all Snodgrass did, I can't think of him doing much more. I'm pretty sure he was his usual self.
Tell a lie. I remember in the second half, he took a corner off Alan Forrest, shoved him off the corners, and then proceeded to take one of the worst corner kicks I've ever seen in my entire existence.
In fairness, Forrest took one corner, and I think it was the worst corner of the game. And
it was terrible. But that's my point. Snodgrass clearly wasn't up to scratch today. And we're dependent on a 35-year-old to carve out chances. Albeit he is a top player. He's been first class since he's arrived, for the most part. A couple of performances recently have been sketchy. But how can Hearts be in the predicament where we're relying on him to be the one to conjure and create?
I don't think it's a predicament. I think it's a tactic that in recent weeks has been found out. Because when he first came in... I think it is a
predicament, mate. I do.
I don't think it's a predicament, because a predicament suggests we have no alternative, whereas I think we do. I think we have Grant who can come in.
Saying a predicament. Well, George Grant isn't given the chance in this game.
But
that's probably his best performance in a Hearts shirt. Was at Hamilton, and he drops him, which again goes back to my point. Why not go 4-3-3 or something? They're up against the back three anyway, so get down the wide areas. Then we've got more space in the middle to work with for the likes of Shanklin. Granted, of course, Josh Ginnelly is a big miss. I'm not disputing that.
I want to get to that.
I think today was crystal clear just how much we missed Josh
Ginnelly. Let's speak about that now, because listen, Gino splits opinion, which I think is putting it nicely.
He does.
I think that's saying
he did last season even more so.
Yes, absolutely. This season has been Gino's best season with us, undoubtedly.
Fully agree.
Just before we came on to record, I just saw Craig Fowler, who was reporting at the game today, spoke to a Motherwell player after the game, and the first thing said Motherwell player said was, "Use Miss Ginnelly." So that was clearly part of the game plan. Kettlewell knew that Gino wasn't going to be playing. And we're speaking here about predicaments and isolated individuals. What Gino offers you is something different. So Gino, when he starts, has been the number 9. And his sole job has been told, play on the shoulder, get in behind with your pace. Either A, that works. And we've seen Gino get a lot of joy out of that, either himself or it allows others to get brought into play. Or B, it doesn't work, and you go, right, okay, this isn't working. So we change, move him out wide, either get Humphreys on, or if Humphreys has started, move Humphreys into the centre, move Shankland into the centre, move Gino in behind the 10. And you can switch it up that way. Today, when we didn't have Gino, it was if Humphreys and Shankland isn't working together, there's nothing else that we can do.
Done.
Yeah, we don't know what to do. So I think, in a way, if you want to take any positives for today, I think there's one that we'll get to. We haven't mentioned them yet, but we'll get to them.
That strengthens Josh Ginnelly's case for starting the team.
But the other positive is that we can go, right, look how valuable Gino is to this side.
Yeah. I was thinking there, if going 4-3-3 again, that would be harsh and dropping Humphreys. So would you then just keep it simple and go 4-4-2? I don't know. I feel like that's one to get back to the drawing board with, because to me, this just, with the current setup, the way that it was today, it was apparent that it wasn't working after 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes, yeah, granted, but I was travelling back from work. I didn't see any of that. I literally just came in and sat myself down and was like, this is
You just
murder.
saw all the shite.
All the dross. I was like, I should have gone to sleep. I was thinking, like, I don't know. It just, if the home side are then in the ascendancy and they're trying to get back into the game, to then not change that is barking. In my opinion. Don't give me that thumbs up.
It's just like, and this is kind of a summing up point, so it's not really good here. But it's one of those games where you go, right, categorically, this doesn't work. Is this a case of it doesn't work in general?
Against said opponent?
Away from home, generally? Does it not work because of personnel? That's not up for us to decide. That's up to Robbie, his coach team, and the players.
We don't get paid any money to make these decisions.
Exactly. So that's why I'm actually really intrigued for the St Johnstone game to see if we go, is it because we're at home? So generally, this system has worked at home in terms of wins. So we do that. Is it that, no, Robbie wants to try something else? So you go, right, we're at home. It's the best time to do it. We're against a team that aren't in great form. I know they just beat Dundee United, but generally, St Johnstone aren't in great form. So that's what's going to be interesting. We should have, unless there was an injury picked up today that hasn't been publicised, we'll have everybody back that we can do. We won't have Boyce, Benny, JMS Halkett, etc. But in terms of short term, Shankland's back as he was today. Gino's back as he wasn't today. Cochrane, Kingsley, Rolls will most likely be back due to it being a toe injury that he got onto the bench. There's now 2 weeks until the next game. You'd like to think that he's all right. So it's like, right.
You'd like to think he's all right, but knowing Hearts,
yeah.
I mean, he'll be back in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And then lo and behold, that'll get knocked back. Oh, what are we? Oh, yeah, we're into March. Yeah,
He'll
be
be
late
back for
April by the time he's
pre-season.
back. Oh, look at that. Yeah, the start of next season, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we haven't had one of these therapy sessions in a while. I've somewhat missed it. I'm really angry.
I couldn't tell.
Oh. Let's talk about the remainder of that first half because, like I say, from 10 minutes onwards. It really was a big steaming pile of shite. 36 minutes, Cammy Devlin's deflected effort would trickle wide. Again, that was about all he contributed.
That made me laugh so much because he turns and he like shakes his fist and like I did it! And it's like, no, Cammy, you shouldn't have shot. You're Cammy Devlin. Smith was available. Give it to him.
I know, and yet he's got acres of space as well when he first receives the ball.
Devlin was absolutely abysmal today.
Wow,
he was.
It says Cammy Devlin's biggest fan.
And if I'm saying it, you know it's true.
Yeah.
Fuck me! My dad messaged me 20 minutes in, going, "Did he sign for Motherwell before the game? Like, what's happening?"
As was reflected in being hooked at halftime for George Grant, who he arguably shouldn't have been dropped for.
Yes, just everything he did was bad. I don't remember any positives apart from this shot that deflected wide.
And again, that is the epitome of clutching at straws if ever I've heard it. 2 minutes later, however, a superb stop from Xander Clark denies Sean Goss.
He's the one positive I'm speaking about.
You've stolen my thunder here because I've seen a lot of Hearts fans say not a single player deserves pass marks. Rest assured, Xander Clark deserves pass marks.
He got an 8 in the evening news.
God almighty. I mean, I think that's harsh. I really do.
There was about 4 saves that were outstanding.
I'm thinking back to our summer window, and granted he signed as a free agent, so he might get that little bit of a technicality. Xander Clark... No, I can't say that when Lauren Shankland has bagged 20 goals, but...
And Cochrane's been amazing for 90% of this season.
Yeah, but we knew about Cochrane. Okay, so bar those two, Xander Clark has undoubtedly been our signing of the summer.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. It was the worry. The worry every Hearts fan had, if you ask them ahead of the season, was, oh yeah, it's going well. We've got a striker. We've got left backs who was really good the season before. We've
managed to recruit in positions that we need, albeit right back still a bit dodgy. But other than that,
we're fine. Except the fact that if Gordon goes out for any period of time, we're fucked. And then Clark came in. There was that aspect of he was barely playing, understandably, because Gordon was in goals. And then,
he wasn't. It was obviously still without a club as well for what?
Yeah, of course.
I guess 2-3 months.
Yeah, definitely. And then it was like, right, Gordon's out for the season. Clark, we've now went from, what happens if Xander Clark has to play a couple of games without confidence, to you are now the number one for the remainder of this season. And he almost couldn't have done better. Physically, he could have if he'd kept a clean sheet in every single game. But he's been
top class.
Almost no goals I can think of that were directly his fault. I genuinely can't think of any off the top of my head. I may be wrong. Someone might point somewhere and I'll go, oh yeah, of course. But even in the Rangers game when we got bodied, I don't remember him being at fault for any of them. The St Mirren deflected free kick, it's because it takes a massive deflection, so it goes to the other side.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, you've got me.
I don't think either of the two today is at fault for it, especially the second, because it deflects off the post and you can tell he doesn't know where the ball is. You can just tell.
I think even more so for the first, if I'm honest. That's just because John Obika literally cannot miss.
Yeah.
I mean, if we talk about that, from the save that he makes from Goss, which was a stunner, the resulting corner, they then take the lead. Humphreys heads as far as the aforementioned Goss on the edge of the box. His effort is diverted home inside the 6-yard box by who else, Daniel McIver? John fucking Obika. Yeah. I thought we'd seen the last of this loser when he followed Stephen Robinson down south.
I just knew as soon as it was like, Obika plays for them. Right, he's going to score the day.
Why did no Hearts fan, at least from my knowledge, if you've got a bet slip out there, feel free to tweet us with it. Why did nobody leap on that when they saw that Obika was lining up?
I know.
Because it must be his first game against us since that night.
I don't know, actually. Potentially. Was he there when we beat them 3-2 at home? I have no idea. Listen, he's very effective, Obika. He knows his strengths and he very much plays to them. You saw it today. It's very much just like an instinctive striker. He realises Hill is a wee bit further behind everybody else, so goes, right, I'm going to hit that space.
Peels off the marker so easily.
Yeah,
there's nobody
course,
there.
Yeah.
He's in the 6-yard box.
I think, though, that's because I haven't seen it back. I can't remember who it is that's marking him. But
I want to say it's Cochrane, but I'm not 100%.
Potentially, considering it's that side of the...
Which again, is a mismatch.
Yeah,
I love Alex Cochrane to bits. He's up for a scrap more than any Hearts player I can remember in a good few years. Yeah. But look at the size of the guy. Look at the size of a beaker.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And sorry, McIver, it feels like every goal that we concede these days is either individual brilliance by our opponents or from a set piece.
Yeah.
And again, this is another one.
We just do.
What is going on?
All the time. I assume the reason that there's no one near him is because they've pushed out to try and remain.
Maybe.
To try and get everybody to be offside, but Hill doesn't push out quick enough.
Again, not enough pressure on the ball for Goss to strike pretty cleanly.
Stop the cross. And then it was half time, and I was sat going...
No, hold on a second. Again, we're appealing for offside.
I can understand why it's tight, like. It's on. He's on, definitely, but I can understand in that moment, players are like, what?
Oh, it's classic Hearts. Focus. Mark up. Leave one of two centre forwards unmarked in the 6-yard box to just get any form of contact on it.
Again.
And it's past Clark in a flash.
I'd need to see it again. I don't know if the thing is that, right, the balls went out in a second phase, so we need to push out. And if James Hill takes a step quicker, we've done that successfully.
2 more points before we come into half.
You were worried we weren't going to stretch this to an hour.
No,
we're nearly there.
But then I realised I can rant and rave for Britain. Ian Crocker then dropped a wind-up bit of power.
I watched this on Hearts TV. I didn't watch it on Sky.
In the commentary, Ian Crocker said, Hearts have recovered 13 points from losing positions.
Wow.
Only Rangers can better that this season. That was on 42 minutes, me having watched 20 minutes of this dross and thinking, we have been absolutely murder. But there was to be a chance for us before half-time.
There was,
We very nearly pulled level when Stephen Kingsley, who I've been criticising for most of, if not all of this episode, hits a free kick off the bar. It then just dips into the stand behind the goal.
Finally, he's fucking taking free kicks again. This is the thing I'm annoyed at. See, as soon as we got in that position, I was shouting because I saw Barry Mackay and Robert Snodgrass being near it, and I really appreciated that Kingsley just held the ball and was like, I dare want to listen to you. You could see Snodgrass and Mackay try and give him tips, and he was like, go away. I'm putting this on the ground because it's an absolute joke. I've no been taking these. And then he nearly scores. He hits the bar, and it's like, all season, why has he not been doing that? I know he missed, but still.
This is one of those hypothetical questions, but can you remember a time when somebody just goes over to grab the ball and is adamant that the set piece that they're about to take is theirs and nobody but theirs? Because for me, the only other one that comes to mind, and he's even since spoken about this in interviews about it, is Craig Beattie in the 2012 semi, where Zaliukas sort of shows a bit of interest. Craig Beattie says he's got the ball under his arm, just pushes an arm out and says, do not fucking speak to me.
I can think of one, but it's more subtle. It's not like that. And funnily enough, it's the game after that, in the cup final. There's like a stramash when Kujabi's getting sent off. And really sneakily, Granger just goes and takes the ball and kind of quietly just walks over to the spot independently. Everybody's congratulating Suso for getting the pen. And he's aware.
Stephen Elliott moves over to him and they're all just celebrating the fact that him so down to 10.
Granger just quietly is like, I'm having this. And by the time everything's set up, I think every Hearts player who could have taken it was like, right, where's the ball? And Granger's already put it down and is ready to stand. He's like, all right, okay, I guess Danny's taking it. And it worked. Well in, Danny Granger.
Oh, maybe that's one for the listeners because they'll have an abundance of answers. Yeah, any other times where Hearts players or others, but ideally
Paul
Hearts
Hartley
players.
will have done it 100 times.
Yeah, that's a good point. But any that come to mind, feel free to let us know.
Yeah.
Half time, 1-0 down. Changes to be made? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was like, I would have taken off Humphreys, Mackay, and Devlin as a 3.
Wow. I mean,
Humphreys,
Robbie then later made a triple change.
Yeah, he did.
In a bit.
Humphreys not as much for his performance in terms of like, you were bad.
He only really had that one chance.
Yeah, that's not what I mean. What I mean is just I was like, right, I don't think this is working, so let's change the system. Humphreys, you're probably going to have to be sacrificed for that. I'd rather keep Shankland on.
And go, 3 up with 2 in support of Shankland.
Yeah. That didn't happen. Grant came on, but generally, and this is the thing, right? I don't know what happened. Apart from the goal immediately, did anything of worth happen apart from the mix-up with the subs?
That's what I was really going to say. So, of course, Hearts are 1-0 down at half-time. We're looking to get back into the match. The second 45 kicks off.
Big team talk at half-time. Going, right, lads, focus for 5 minutes. Keep the heat.
Get the next goal. We're right back in this. We're in the ascendancy. 2,400 Jambos pushing us on. And that goes out the window after 17 seconds. A long ball is played up to John Abika, who bullies James Hill before it's played out to Kevin Van Veen out wide. His cross is glanced on by Blair Spittle, heads against the post, bounces on the rebound, and Motherwell are 2 to the good inside 46 minutes. And that is effectively that.
I take it back. This game's class. This is funny as fuck, man. My favourite part of all of this was the fact that it was completely irrelevant if Motherwell scored from this chance, because if they didn't, Stephen Kingsley sent off and they get a penalty because he just dump tackles somebody. I don't know who it is, but just in his attempt to stop it as it comes back with balls, Kingsley just goes, I'm just going to grab onto this guy and drag him to the ground.
That's a good point. Who was that? It wasn't Bigabika at the back. It was a Goss, maybe.
I think it was Sean Goss.
Somebody that was lurking.
Yeah, because he looked like quite a wee guy. Is Sean Goss quite wee?
Yeah, maybe it was wee Max Johnston, who, again, I mean, I said this to Dad as well, just to depress you. I mean, you remember, obviously, Alan Johnston played for Hearts. That's his son. So just adding to the depression here.
See when, because as I say, I watched it on Hearts TV. So see when Rob, on commentary, said, that's the son of Alan Johnston, I had to stop and was like, what do you mean that's the son of Alan Johnston? That's mental.
That is mental. We're kicking on, mate. I mean, we've seen Andy Kirk's boy come on and grab an appearance for
Gary O'Connor's wee lad. He's now getting into
little Josh.
Terrifying,
worrying times. But yeah, I mean, in terms of other chances, Lauren Shanklin blazed over after receiving from Coughlin.
I felt really bad for Shanklin because I feel like everything he did.
The frustration was evident on his face.
I felt
nothing was coming off. Again, even the chance. I mean, Cornelius has one that's deflected wide, but the big one for me is Mackay's corner, which is headed on by Hill, and eventually finds Toby Civic at the back stick. Yeah. Kelly gathers, and you just see Shanklin he sort of looks up to the heavens as if to say, "It's not happening for us today."
Yeah, it was at that moment. I literally went, "It's not a day of the day."
No.
Right, in recent weeks, that bundles in.
Yeah, and that's still with, half an hour on the clock. Yeah. We've got over half an hour to get one at least.
Yeah.
Hopefully a second, potentially a third. Yeah, not happening for us. But again, the Max Johnston chance is the big one, a big let-off for us, where, again, I mean, put it this way, had we scored from that corner and then Max Johnston missed this sitter, you'd think we could go up and punish him here.
Yeah.
But again, sums up Kingsley's afternoon because he clears virtually straight to him and he's sort of on the penalty spot, albeit he's a little bit over, and somehow slides it wide. And given his goal in midweek, I mean, how he went from that to that is beyond me. The changes come on. Nathaniel Atkinson blazes over the bar. Doesn't do a great deal else.
Atkinson was fucking awful when he came on. I thought every sub was poor. That's maybe harsh on George Grant. I thought Grant just didn't get as involved, and I hoped he would be.
But again, like what do you really expect him to do?
I know, exactly.
Had he started alongside potentially, well, definitely Snodgrass and maybe Devlin as well, we might have seen more from George Grant, but
yeah.
It's not really his game with a 45-minute cameo at Motherwell.
But those three subs,
particularly when it gets off to such a shite start as well. I might
exactly. Garang, Atkinson, and Forrest, I thought all of them were really poor when they came on. Atkinson, I think the first three things he did was pass the ball at a play, lose the ball, and then fire well over. And it was like, what are you doing? Forrest came on and buzzed about, and I think immediately started misplacing passes. Garang unbelievably won a header against somebody, and I was so shocked at it. But then again, he couldn't really get his foot on the ball. He was misplacing passes.
He seems like a bit of a wido, Garang Kjol.
I'm a fan.
He seemed like he was going to be started on a couple of them.
I'm a fan of it. Go on yourself, wee man.
If in doubt, take some bodies, wee man.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about George Grant, he'd smash one after shankling chest down. Decent stop by Liam Kelly, who's equal to it. There was a weak effort from Alex Cochrane, which is gathered by the Motherwell goalie. And then 87 minutes just summed up the entire afternoon. Yutaro Oda just can't get a shot away. A lovely build-up. The only decent move in the final third all afternoon. Tidy little back heel from Shankland, and he just seems to take one touch too many. Doesn't get it out of his feet. And that, again, like I say, basically summed up the afternoon, McIver.
Aye. No hard day, basically. Poor at the office. Nobody really turned up. That was a big thing. I said it on Twitter. It was like, listen, I don't think the tactics were right in terms of the three up against a Motherwell side who were going to be playing the way they were going to be playing. But a huge aspect of it was I just didn't feel like anybody turned up the day apart from Xander Clark.
I feel like this... Look, performances haven't been great recently, right? But as long as you're getting results,
we've also
really
went 10 unbeaten.
Exactly. So nobody really cares regarding the results. But to me today, this just felt like we've ran out of paper for cracks. In terms of performance, I can't think of a performance where start to finish we've been shit hot for a wee while.
So it was interesting because I was speaking about this earlier today. I don't think outside the Rangers and Celtic many teams play well for 90 minutes.
I mean, if we're the best of the rest and we can't conjure it up, then there's absolutely no chance that the remaining 9 teams in the league can. No way. It
depends what you clarify, because I think we played well against Aberdeen for 90 minutes. I don't think we played great, but I think we played well. We were in control for most of that game.
We played well for 45, and then but this is because the game's done.
Exactly, yeah. So you just kind of go.
Then understandably tails off.
Yeah. So there's been games where we've kind of controlled it, and I get where fans go, but that's not good enough. And it's like, okay, fine, but I'd much rather have a controlling game. And I feel like against Aberdeen we did that. I know we only beat St Mirren 1-0, but I still felt a lot of that game we were in control. There was moments where we definitely weren't. But generally,
I still feel like there were glimpses from St Mirren, though. I don't think they were still firmly in the game.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely take the point where it's like, listen, performances haven't been good enough, and that I feel like that's just like objectively true. I feel like that's it. I think it's more just about how much emphasis do you put on that. And Anthony Brown said at the start today, it's like that's our first loss against a non-Old Firm side since October. It gives you that bit of perspective. And also, I put it on Twitter, this time last year, we were a point better off. We were on 43 points after game week 26. We're on 42 points after game week 26. Game week 26 last season, we got beat 2-1 at home against the side that would get relegated, Dundee. Game week 26 here, we get beat 2-0 away from home against a side that is within a relegation situation. And
interesting. A little February meltdown seems to be an annual occurrence now.
Exactly.
That's good. I'll keep that in mind for next year.
And so we were a point better off last year, And that was without the massive injury crisis we had at the start of the season and 8 European fixtures. So the thing I think is the problem is that at this time last year, we were 10 points clear in third. This time, we're 5 points clear in third. So that is making people a wee bit more worried. I remember last year where it was, oh, God's sake, got beat off Dundee, this is a nightmare. But don't worry, we're 10 points clear. Now it's, got beat off Motherwell, this is a nightmare. Oh, shit, we're only 5 points clear. So,
of a Hibs side that we've been berating all season. Like this, to me, this is the biggest riddy that's ever occurred. But I know what you're going to say, because the next 3 fixtures are away to Livingston and they play both the Old Firms. So
I think they'll get a result at Livingston, right?
But so die.
You have to imagine they'll get beat off both sides of the Old Firm. We've played the Old Firm more than most sides.
I think Hibs will get 3 points out that 9.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I would probably say that. But also, I've always said this. I don't think this Hibs team is as bad as so many people were saying. I think we're in a bit of a tailspin.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And that's the thing. You just need a bit of perspective. Today was fucking awful, right? Absolutely abysmal. I don't know what it is about us going to Fir Park. Got beat 2-0 twice in the last 2 seasons there, and both of them have been some of the worst performances Nielsen's had. But
yeah, that's a good point.
You get to just go, right, listen, we've got a very good game next to make it right, and hopefully we do so. I told you I'd remain on the positive train.
I know. Yeah, well done. You put a little positive spin on that.
A big part of that was me finding out that stat where it was like we're only a point worse off than where we were after 26 games, and we've played 8 extra games and had an injury crisis.
That's good. I feel less like drowning myself now, so that's a result.
Right.
We've ended that on a positive spin. There's no game to preview next week, thank the Lord. So I don't know what's going to happen. We might try and get somebody on.
We'll do something.
Chat about the season so far. Or
there's a certain someone who keeps making comments about coming on. So
begging appearances.
Maybe
just listen to him ramble for an hour. let's just hand over to him and just let him just chat away. Yeah. But before we go, McIver, we're going to put a light-hearted spin again on proceedings.
No, because the way my footballing weekend's been, considering both my English side and my Scottish side, I'm going to get 0 out of 5 here. Right, this is going to be terrible.
2-0 defeats.
Yeah,
not good.
Yeah, not good at all.
But a cup final next week, and Hearts. Well, I was going to say Hearts. Hearts can't ruin the weekend, even though Newcastle might. But...
True, Newcastle might. Loris Karius, I believe in you, you big handsome bastard. Come on.
I know they could have done with signing Xander Clark.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Or Mark Gillespie. We've got him as an option.
I know Shearer said that match of the day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a man!
Come on.
2 standard questions: true or false, multiple choice. Who am I? Right. Again, drafted in the early hours of this morning, so it could be total rubbish.
I've been on a run.
Here we go.
I've got 2 back-to-back. Can I make it 3?
The Who Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, you bastard. Oh, no. I'm worried that you're going to...
Let's see.
You're going to isolate questions and you're going to find the answers and this isn't going to be fun.
You pulled it in a bag out of nowhere last week. So
I know. That was remarkable. And then I see everybody slating me saying they got Scots and everyone was sorry. He was up my arse last week. Give me a break. Right. First question, Daniel McIver, is... Who scored Motherwell's goals when Hearts edged past the Steelmen 3-2 with 10 men in November?
I don't know any Motherwell players. I know it wasn't Van Veen because he scored but it was offside.
Okay.
Who are some Motherwell players? Niskanen and Slattery.
I'll give you Niskanen plays for Dundee United for a start. I'll give you a clue today. One of them scored today as well.
Oh, who scored their second? I don't know. I know, but I can't remember. Did you say the name Blair Spittle?
Yes.
Is that right? There's one.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on.
And the other is now back at their parent club, having been on loan. There's your other clue.
I don't know. I keep trying to say Slattery, but he's not. He's there.
Yo.
He plays for them. He's back So he's back at whoever the club was.
Yes, down south.
I don't know. Callum Wilson. Because he's in my head.
Louis Moult is the correct answer.
Oh, wasn't that like he's only got it was a penalty? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember that. I'll take the point. Thank you very much.
Skeptical. The second question, true or false?
No.
Kevin Van Veen has never scored against Hearts for Motherwell.
False.
It is true. He's never scored.
I thought, yes, he scored one in his first 5 games. He scored in the League Cup against us. Because I remember doing that as a start for a question that I did as well. Yeah, hold on. I'm finding this out.
We need some clarification now.
I swear, I might be wrong.
I don't think he had.
I might be wrong. But let's see. Transfer marked. You've never let me down as of yet. Right. Stats.
Have I just Judas myself here?
Record against.
Oh no.
Oh, there's 8 fucking pages of this. Hearts played. Oh no, he got an assist. You're right.
Yes.
You're correct.
Woo!
I've worked out what the one was. It was 1 win. And that was today.
Lord. Well,
You're fine. You're fine.
Ooh. I was going to say 1 from 2, but it's not really.
It's not. It's 0 from 2. Let's just keep going.
Question number 3. Can you name the 3 players sent off in Saturday's Scottish Premiership fixtures?
No.
Nice. Let's move on.
Because I'll be honest, I thought there was only 1. So,
who said 1?
Vassell for killing.
Is 1.
Right.
Yes.
Right, fuck me.
Do you want me to give you the teams of the other 2?
That would be lovely, because I didn't know there was any others.
Livingston and Ross County.
Oh, I know the Livingston one, but I don't know the Ross County one. Omiyonga.
Livingston, correct.
Yeah, he got a double yellow. The second
And the Ross
yellow
County one was right at the end.
Was excellent.
Was excellent against us at Tynecastle, first day of the season.
Yakovay.
Awura Edwards.
Oh, I didn't know who he was.
No matter.
So,
your multiple choice.
Right.
The Scottish League Cup final and English League Cup final, containing your beloved Newcastle,
Yep.
takes place next weekend. But how many clubs have won the Wee Cup since Hearts last won it? Is it A, 11,
Fuck me, man.
B, 12, C, 13, or D, 14?
Right, so 11 to 14. 2 of them
Yes.
are Celtic and Rangers. Hibs have won it. St Mirren have won it.
Yes.
That's 4. Right. So
Wait till you see some of the draws that have won it since we last won it.
So have either 7 or 11 other teams, or 10 other teams won it on top of those 4.
Yes.
I'm going to say...
Bear in mind, we've been without it for a long time.
I know we have. I'm going to say 12 teams have won it.
Oh.
I was one off either way, evidently.
The correct answer is 39.
Okay. Who are they?
So you've got Ross County in 2015-16.
Didn't know that.
Wraith Rovers in 94-95. Ross County beat Hibs in the final. Do you not remember it?
No.
Alex Schalk, late winner.
You have to remember,
Brilliant.
only last season did I start paying attention to the rest of Scottish football. So anything prior to 2019, I didn't ken anything.
Actually, there's a good couple of these against Hibs, which is quite funny. So Ross County in 2015-16, Wraith Rovers in 94-95, Livingston in 2003-4, also against Hibs, St Mirren in 2012-13, let's move on.
Yeah.
St Johnstone in 2020-21.
Oh, of course. Fuck me.
Partick Thistle in 71-72.
No.
Kelly in 2011-12, they beat Celtic in the final. Dundee United have won it twice. Dundee in 73-74. Hibs have won it 3 times. Aberdeen 5 times, and as you rightly said, both the Old Firm.
Fair play to all those wonderful lads.
Diddy clubs.
We're never going to win it again, so it's fine.
No, we're not. 10 off, McIver.
Right.
You need this. You need this big time.
No, it's fine. We both need to go and get a donut. You've had a couple, I'm due one.
This is the only consolation that I can take if you don't get this.
Yeah.
But something tells me that you will when you.
It'd be funny if I got this and didn't get any else.
FYI, oh yeah, I'll be spewing. But I'm going to get this man's Wikipedia up as I type.
Yep.
Here we go. Bolton Wanderers and Newcastle United were supposedly interested in me before I decided upon a move to Gorgie, having previously played in Ghana, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and Russia. Having initially joined the Jambos on loan, I would later sign a 3-year deal, but would only score 11 goals in 80 games for Hearts. My older brother played in goal for our country in all 4 matches of a World Cup, and my son is a player having broken through at the same club as I did. Who am I?
Jesus Christ. Right. I've got a name in my head, but
Okay, talk to me.
I don't think it's right. But my brains went to Larry Kingston because you're in that kit, and I think Larry Kingston played in that kit, and you mentioned Ghana. But that's okay. I'm not just going to be mental and Adam Kennedy it and just say a name. So, can I please have the years in which he played for us?
You can, McIver. So, this man joined Hearts on the 25th of January 2007 on an initial 6-month loan deal.
It could be Larry Kingston.
And was released. It must have been the summer of 2010 then.
Right. I don't think Larry Kingston left that early.
Right.
So therefore, this could be a laugh.
You have one remaining.
I don't
question.
want to just go. Where's he
wisely.
from? Because if it's not Ghana, I'm fucked and don't have a thing. I don't want to just say the clubs, because you mentioned some absolutely insane nations.
Obscure nations, yeah.
So I'm not going to know any of them. Right.
Okay.
So we joined, did you say January 2007?
I did.
Now, this is the thing. Here's a little fact about Daniel McIver and his life with Hearts. I was given a tour of Tynecastle by Larry Kingston.
Right, okay.
I am trying to remember how old I was at that time.
Nice.
Because I think I was about 10 or 11. They wouldn't have had loan players doing it when he was there. So if it's true, I would have been 11. Now, what am I going to say? Well, Larry Kingston, obviously a midfielder. Am I going to ask his position?
I hate this. Is the worst in it. It's the worst.
As soon as you said the clues, my brain went, that sounds like Larry Kingston. I don't know, however, if he has a son that plays. I don't know if he has a brother that plays. I don't know if Newcastle were interested in him. Bolton weirdly is ringing a bell. What is my other question? Is my other question going to be, what position did he play in? Because if you say midfielder, I'm going to go Larry Kingston. But if you don't, I have no name in my head, which maybe is like, should I then go nationality? Was he a defender, a midfielder, or an attacker?
He was a midfielder, McIver.
It's Larry Kingston.
Larry Kingston. It is. Well,
yes! You fucked yourself in that kit. Did he wear that kit?
I know. I realised as soon as I dropped the Ghana, I was like, oh shit, I'm in bother here.
Yeah, you're in the kit. See, this is why you need to be watching on YouTube if you're just listening. You get these clues that can help you visually. I've still not went 0 for 5. Get in. I have a prevailing memory of
That's so annoying. God knows why he popped in my head first thing this morning, but I was like, yeah, that'll do.
It could be this reason, because I can't remember if this was against Motherwell or Dundee United.
He's doing like his dance.
No, it was. I think it was Dundee United. We'd used all 3 subs. We were getting beat. I was sat right down the front of the Gorgie, and he got hurt in inverted commas, and he went to go back on, and you just saw him go, nah, I can't be arsed with this. So just walked around the edge of the pitch, and whoever was manager at the time, lost.
Shaba? Was it Shaba?
Maybe it was Shaba. Lost their mind because we had to play the last 10 minutes with 10 men just because he was like, "Oh, I can't really be arsed." Yeah, he gave me a tour of Tynecastle. He had no idea what was going on, and I fully respect it. Andy Driver was saying to me when we interviewed him that no one knew how old he was.
Well, exactly. Think of his boy.
Yeah, exactly.
So worried if I'd made that easy with the obscurity of the nations.
I think when you said Ghana, I was like, that's no. I would have been surprised if a non-native Ghanaian had went to Ghana to play.
You'd have gone like, should have maybe just said Africa.
Yeah, if he'd said that, that really
Africa, Asia, and Europe.
Yeah, there you go. See,
yeah. It's a learning experience. This is what happens. But yeah, his brother, coincidentally, given that you were curious, his brother was a goalkeeper, of course, who was first choice at the 2010 tournament, but played all four in 2006.
Wow!
Previously playing for Blackpool, Wigan, and Birmingham, and his son was born between us actually, 21st of November 1997. His son Jacob was born, and he plies his trade with Accra Great Olympics.
I wish him all the best.
There you go. That is title material like the Midnight Riders.
Yeah, exactly.
Accra Great Olympics. What a team they are.
Well, fair play. I'm buzzing with that. 3 in a row. How much can I keep this up? 11-6 now. 11-6.
You're flying. We're reaching out to an African audience. What's not to love?
Exactly. Well, we hope you have loved this episode, which is a bit different. Considering we're recording the night of a game, which I don't think we've ever done apart from Brora. No, but even that was the next day. Brora was the next day.
While. Yeah, because I went to work with loads of Hibs fans, take the piss out of me all morning. Yeah, that was a good laugh. And then came in and recorded that.
We hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you've been watching us on YouTube and saw that Adam gave it away with the top that he's wearing, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe as well. Massively helps us. We're at Perth to Paisley on all forms of social media, perthtopaisley@gmail.com as well if you want to fire us over an email. Adam, where can they get you on all the socials?
They can get me berating this Hearts top, which is quite frankly shocking as our performance was today, at Adam T. Kendall. Or what about yourself, mate?
I'm at DMcIver22. We'll be back probably next week with a certain special guest and see his thoughts on everything that he is very keen to let us know about. But if not, we'll definitely be back next time. And we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Later.